Hello boxing fans, right now I'm doing the post-fight analysis for two fights. That is the KO for Tony Bellew over Danny McIntosh and Paulie Malignaggi's TKO victory over Vyacheslav Senchenko. Firstly with Tony Bellew, I did bet on this fight actually, and I did bet the KO in the rounds 6, 7, 8 and 9. Bellew did get the job done however in round 5, so I didn't get paid. It was a very good fight though, and let me tell you, if you have not seen this fight, this is one of the fights that you have to see. You know, people say that the world boxing isn't doing it right now, and it's true. The domestic boxing though is carrying the sport right now. You know, people think it's all about world titles, but really it's all about this level. Just before you get to the world level, that is where boxing is at right now. You know, this fight was billed as the Big Bang, and damn did it live up to that name. Even in round 1, I got the jitters. I realised I'm probably not going to win me money in this fight because it could go down. The whole fight could end in any moment. You see, Bellew came out and he did set up his dominant jab, which is a stinging weapon. It's not a rangefinder, it is a stinging weapon. He then tried to bring in the power game, and he mixed it in very well. You know, he landed it flush a few times, and this is in the first round. You know, moving through the fight, and we're going to just quickly go through this because we've got two fights to do. It did seem obvious that, you know, McIntosh's reflex-based defence, it was just not good enough at this level. Once or twice he did manage to slip a shot, or at least move his body weight in the opposite direction of the punch momentum, which sort of took the power out of the shot sometimes, but sometimes it was to no avail, because Bellew is a big cruiserweight fighting at light heavyweight. It just was always on the wall that McIntosh was going to lose this fight. His whole game was attempting to fight fire with fire, and for someone who was basically outgunned by a guy who's got a bigger arsenal than him, it was just on the wall. It was a losing fight. Anyway, there was the first knockdown which came. It sort of signalled the end to my bet, really. It was a bunch of punches that, you know, none of which landed terribly flush, but the sheer force of these punches smashing into a partial guard was enough just to make Danny fall to the ground. You know, it was enough. He got up, saved by the bell, and then he had 1 minute to rest before having to wait another 6 minutes for the knockout. Like I said, he did last another round, but he barely lasted it. Whenever McIntosh took a few punches, it looked like he was about to be put down. He took a lot of punishment. If I was the referee in this fight, I could have stopped that fight at any moment, really, because after the first knockdown, he was all over the place in a few of these. Yeah, anyway, when I had 2 minutes to go until I was going to win my bet, you know, there was a clash of heads. It resulted in a slight nick or a cut above Bellew's eye. Bellew looked to the referee. Danny Mac saw his opportunity, went in for the kill, trying to fight fire with fire, which wasn't working the whole fight. I don't know why he thought it would work now. And he walked straight into a huge power punch that shook his head from left to right and left him in a heap on the floor. The referee took one look at him and waved it off, which was totally the right decision. This was refereeing at his best, really. You know, maybe if Danny McIntosh didn't jump in for the kill, I would have won my bet. He would have made it to round 6. Who knows? We're all talking hypotheticals now. It doesn't really matter. The writing was on the wall from the first round, like I said. And I just bet 1 round short, that's all I can say. Where does he go next? Well, he said he wants Nathan Cleverly rematch, and I think he would win that fight. It was a close fight the first time. A lot of people think that he won the fight. I don't know, I thought it was a draw. Maybe he thought he won the fight, I don't know. But he is showing himself to be a quality boxer, and you know, I think he would have a good chance in that fight next time round. However, I would prefer that he fought Enzo Maccarinelli next. That'll be a real good fight for the fans, and it'll stop one opponent that Nathan Cleverly can fight in the near future. Anyway, moving on until my next fight, which is Paulie Malignaggi versus Vyacheslav Senchenko. What a brilliant pronunciation there, guys. Hey, come on, credit where it's due. Right, in this fight, Paulie was absolutely brilliant. He proved me wrong. He did everything exactly right. You know, before I get into the fight, I don't understand the hate that this man gets, you know. He's been in there with some of the best. He's got a great chin, a massive heart, and he's even gracious in defeat. Except for one time when he got absolutely robbed, and it was right to point it out. Surely that's everything you want in a boxer, is it not? I think it is anyway. So, you know, Paulie was out there, he was landing more shots. He was landing the better quality punches and the higher velocity of punches, the amount and shit. You know, if you stand in front of Paulie Malignaggi, he will box your brains out. You've got to get that right into your system straight away. We all knew this before the fight. And he went out there and he put in his high tempo. He had the better movement, he had the better jab, he had the better combinations. Everything was working perfectly. There were glimpses of what Vyacheslav can do and how he won the title in the first place. But I think, you know, the guy was 35 years old. He was coming to the end. It was his first big fight, and it was against Paulie Malignaggi, who is in his own right. Now he's a two-weight world champion. Don't get it twisted. Right, so moving on to the second half of the fight. You know, this Paulie did start to slow down a slight touch in the second half, but he was still in there. He was landing his combos and he was getting the job done. Later on, the eye got swollen quite shut on Vyacheslav, so the referee had no hesitation. He called it. Don't worry, Paulie, you've won the title. It's over. TKO. There was no gasps, no one was like, oh, that's a robbery. It was the right decision. You know, one of the reasons that this happened was, firstly, people didn't take into account the movement and the superior speed of Paulie Malignaggi. Plus, if you block shots with your face might get swollen up. People got to realise that. Another thing is, you know, everyone looked at where this was. It's Paulie Malignaggi, an American, travelling to the Ukraine. What's going to happen here? Everyone thought robbery. You see, you got to realise now, not everywhere in Europe is as bad as some other places. You know, you've got to look at places like Germany, and you've got to look at the actual promoter, I think. And, you know, Sauerland, he's not exactly the most brilliant promoter in the world. He doesn't mind robbing you blind. Vyacheslav Senchenko, there was never a big chance of this. What was he going to do in the future? There was never another payday along the line, was there really? So where did he go next? Well, I think Vyacheslav will probably retire, to be honest. And where does Paulie go from here? Well, he's going to have an easy title defence, and then he'll probably move on to the bigger money fights. Maybe a fight with Devon Alexander will be a good fight, or maybe a fight with Kell Brook. However, I think the one with Devon Alexander is more likely, as they've got history there, and Paulie will want to beat the shit out of him. I just hope they don't fight in St. Louis, because this is one of those reasons where Devon Alexander would rob you blind, because there is an actual next step, a next stepping stone on the actual agenda, whereas with Vyacheslav Senchenko, there was never another step forward, was there? So tell me what you think about these fights, and don't forget to like the Facebook page and follow the Twitter page. Thanks.